Hello everyone, this is Greyshot 17 here bringing you a company versus replay brought to you by Zariel. Hopefully I'm getting that name right. He's playing as an OKW unit with Sabako, and on the enemy team we have Stranik and Elea. Oh God damn it. Thank you guys for picking like really common names. Anyway, let's see. Wow, everyone's picked a doctrine already. But yeah, it's a 2v2 on Across the Rhine. Let's check their rank. Lower tier versus, Jesus Christ, really high tier and slightly lower tier. But we'll see how it goes. Right now, the Allies have the advantage for sure. And actually, funny enough, he did not send to me for an Allied tactic. He sent me for a Soviet tactic, which I want to see. In any case, if you guys want to send in your own replay, make sure you do so, because guess what? By the time this replay comes out, COH2 has released a patch, which means that my current, I guess, replay selection has dwindled to nothing. So, again, send in replays, and I'll take a look and pick out the best ones. Or the most interesting ones, or something along that line. I forget, usually, a lot. Man, did you guys see The Jungle Book? Great film. Wait, what was I talking about? Anyway, 2v2, as real, let's see, Luftwaffe ground forces. Okay, I don't think this map is all that great because you can't really deploy a lot of units behind enemy lines all that much. I guess up here you could with these bunkers, but I don't know. That's okay, and MG defenses highlight. And then we have Sabako for Pack 43, and once again, MG defenses are great. Over here, we have infantry company. Highlight would be the Priest long-range mobile heavy artillery, along with some LMGs, which makes them pretty much any rifleman great at long range, and Stranik, which use the most common, and I do mean common, doctrine. I wonder why he's going like this. The guy's over here doing his thing. I have no idea. Anyway. Highlight would be shock troops, great at killing units close range, and the IS-2, which is a great Soviet heavy tank, good at hitting all targets. Doesn't have really great penetration, but man oh man can kill a lot of infantry units. But yeah, that's pretty much these two. Alright, let's see. Zariel, you have a couple Stern Pioneers. Maybe not so good in this open terrain. I could see where you could use the heavy cover and move close to area to area. But that's just me. Oh, before I stop, I do want to ask you guys something. Leave in the comments below. I recently looked at a recent COH2 campaign mod series called Hearts of Iron. I'm thinking about doing a series on it. There's been 3 so far. Maybe it'll be me trying to beat it because I know they're very difficult. Let me know what you guys think. I'm also thinking about after that doing a Civilization playthrough once again with the World War II mod. Right after I'm done with the Alan Wake stream. And that would be, I'm thinking, as the Soviets, as me doing like a alternate history route where I'm just trying to conquer all of Europe. So let me know what you guys think about that, because I know you guys really like my strategy game playthroughs, so I feel both of those are actually pretty interesting to you guys, and I want to see what you guys think. Anyway, Riflemen, again, I think you should get behind heavy cover and fire, because again, even Stern Pioneers and Kubel can do quite a bit of damage out of cover. Nice job, I guess you should probably cap that territory, just saying. I'm like, why are you not capping that territory? Seems really stupid. Anyway, it looks like he's a good front line. Over here, the Soviet player seems to be going penal troops. I'm assuming he's doing that to win on the infantry game, although, once again, this guy's going a lot of Stern. Wow, he is definitely spamming Stern Pioneers. Great close range, and penal troops, good medium to long range, so honestly, the Stern Pioneers are going to wreck these guys pretty heavily, as you can see right now. It's not even a fair fight. And that being said, they did lose one trooper, but compared to the pretty much, you look at that 3-to-1, it's kind of worth it. Another penal troop coming in, but again, they can close the gap, and especially because he's in negative cover. Again, never fight negative cover. Really surprised he retreated. I feel like you could keep one and keep the second one there and keep firing at that unit. I feel like that would have been good to get that behind heavy cover and annihilate them on the road, and you would be fine. I feel like you preemptively retreated for no apparent reason. You do have an MG34 that could be pretty good. I would say you could put it in this building. That way you can hold the fuel and hold an attack over here. Or if you can, in this building, because I do like how you can put MG guards this point and also guards the road, which could be very, very valuable. Down here, we have a lot of troops moving up. It looks like, wow, something happened which killed a lot of infantry units. I'm going to... I have no idea what could have done that, because maybe the Stern Pioneer squad, but yeah, that's a lot of dead infantry. And no grenade mark, so I'm assuming the Stern Pioneer squad rushed it, killed a bunch of units, and retreated. So right now, as we can see, the Zariel's currently moving down, capturing a lot of territory. In this map, it looks like they're going for the outer edges, but even though you're trying to go for this point, this is a territory that's more favorable to the Allies comparatively to this area, which is more favorable to the Axis in this region, simply because of the fact of all the staging points and cover these guys get compared over here. So yeah, my advice would be to try to focus a lane. The Soviet player seems to be spreading out his units a lot more, and he does have a lot of penal troops to make him very good against infantry. And OKW doesn't really have necessarily a good killer of infantry initially. I mean, Stern Pioneer's good close range, and Volk squads are good against infantry and armor, but they're not exactly the amazing ass. Stern Pioneers, again, when you close the gap, are pretty good, as shown here. But you have to close that gap without dying, which can be an issue. So right now, I feel like what this guy should go is first you get this headquarters, which I'm really surprised you haven't gotten that. Maybe you're just trying to save up fuel and get more infantry, which I feel like is a good move. Also, you're spamming a lot of MGs, which is I find funny as the OKW, because that almost never happens. Wow, and Zariel is able to push back the Rifleman Company and take over this territory. That's pretty good, especially versus a higher level player. Looks like he did put a munitions point, trying to rush that munitions. Yeah, he's going for bars, bazookas. I'm assuming he also wants LMGs once he gets that upgrade, and with that it will be much more difficult for an infantry game against riflemen, because those bonuses make riflemen very, very deadly. MG, I feel like you could put in here in this building. That would be pretty good. Actually, the unit will pop out of there, so that's why. 2 Stern Pioneer squads, maybe lay some mines. You'd have a lot of munitions. Seems like you haven't spent any per se. If I'm assuming that correctly, we shall see. You should probably go for that munitions point because you kind of need it. But it looks like they're trying to go around and cut off the OKW supply line, which would be over here, which is a decent idea. Again, try to flank and try to make sure that you're not getting fuel, because again, if you can knock out the supply line, you can make sure that you can cut off some major resources. Problem is, looks like there was a big push of infantry. I do like how these guys are focusing more on infantry than necessarily armor, but I do feel like they should probably get this sooner than later, because the longer they wait, even though they control both fuel, the more harm it will be the more harm it will have. Now, of course, we have Zariel. He did put down a medical one. He put it here. I feel like this is a bad location. It's right on the road. I feel like we should probably move it closer to the side. Simply because of the fact when you're playing on these maps, you want to make sure it's harder for the infantry to see this, and they can see it a lot easier looking straight through here, especially with AT gunfire, Su-85 fire, Jackson, whatever, than over here in the corner. You could also make the argument that would make it more prone to airstrikes, the IL-2 bombing strike, or maybe some American strafing run directed at it could then hit it a lot quicker, so you went a little bit farther. But honestly, it isn't too big of a difference between these two areas, so it really would only be like milliseconds, if that. So that's just me. Let's see. Okay, Stern Pioneer's taking this location. They do have a lot of MGs. I will say that this guy may be spamming MG. Oh yeah, he's definitely spamming MGs. But that can actually bite him. Jesus Christ. I've never seen this many MG-34s. I say they're terrible until you upgrade them. So I guess he's just mass producing them to be like, alright, well, if this guy, I mean, to be fair, this guy put himself in a pickle because he's not getting the weapon Campania. He's not getting that MG, or more specifically, mortars. What the hell? Mortars, which are very, very important in killing MGs, and he's not getting that, so of course he's going to MG spam, because there's no obstacle. It's like those issues when they release those bugs in another country and there's no natural predators, so they go crazy. Oh god, like stink bugs and stuff like that, where it's like, hey, stink bugs are now a thing. Maybe it's just because I live in Pennsylvania. Also, I love how the MG couldn't even hold back a single squad and got annihilated. Bazooka team probably going to knock that out. Yep. There it goes. Probably shouldn't have wasted an AT grenade. I feel like it was overkill, but whatever. MG34 on the retreat. Maybe the American player will pick that up, but I mean, I don't... Sure, why not, I guess. Take it while you can. I guess why not. What is your plan, by the way? So you don't even have an... okay, so you did. You upgrade for the captain, and right now you're getting a Stewart. That could be interesting, I would say. That could be very interesting. For Stranik, you're going for the... You're going for the lighter armor, which I could see as a good thing. Again, it doesn't seem like they have a lot of AT necessarily on the OKW side, so that could be a good push. And by the way, in case you guys wonder why I tried it, even though it's like Zareel went that in and I cover all people, because remember, a game focus is not on just one player, it's on the whole game. And while except on 1v1s, you have, even on 1v1s, you have to look at both players and what they're doing, because just one player's actions doesn't necessarily equate to how the game turns out. The other player's inaction, or possibly a mixture of the two, could be the reason why a game turns out. For example, you can see right now they went for the Stewart. The most likely reason they do that, if I had to assume, was this guy's spamming MGs and they need something that's good at infantry killing. Stewart, out of like all of this, is probably the best thing. That being said, I do like Sabako getting out Luke's. That is pretty good because, again, right now they're just focusing on infantry and we haven't seen any armor. So if he can get his quote-unquote Volk squads up, well, his ally, I should say, he's doing pretty good. He has one Volk squad, but again, if he's kind of relying with his ally and communicating, his ally could be going AT while he goes infantry focus, and then he was like, okay, let's continue the infantry focus with the Lukes, you continue it with getting a Panzer headquarters. I assume that's what he's going to do, and that's why he's moving it here. I think a good location would be like right here, or if you want to keep it back and just like defend this area, I think like right here would be good, because that way it's harder for a AT unit to come up and hit it without being blasted by it on either section. But if he tries to put it here or down there, I feel like that's too far, and I feel like the armor and everything will most likely kill it. He sees this coming. He should probably know about it. MG34 probably going to get wrecked. No, he should definitely pull this thing back. There we go. He pulls it back. The Stewart itself would annihilate that unit. So, go USA. Volk squad's moving in, but being hit by mines. Unfortunately, these units, again, are not that good against killing infantry, and I feel like with the MG along with the LMGs, these Volk squads will be annihilated pretty quickly and easily. Not to mention, if the Stewart comes in with a bunch of suppressed units running them over, that could be a big deal. Now, on the right side, we do have the Lukes, and it looks like the Lukes pushed this guy back, was able to knock back his T-70. Makes sense. T-70... it's a light unit. It's not necessarily designed to kill armor or infantry all that much. I more see it as a scout tank per se. And before you say that, it literally has a scouting ability, which is why I think that more. It's still pretty good. I've still seen it get some nice hits in and kill infantry pretty well, and even some armor in some respect. But yeah, if this guy thinks he can run up a Stewart, I feel like it's a bad idea. Also, I think he's kind of blocking his units. Unbreakable. What does that mean? Unbreakable. Can you please clarify? I feel like he's communicating with his ally, and although he just forgot to hit shift or something, I really don't know. If you're talking about the movie, that it was kind of okay. It was like one of the last good M. Night Shyamalan movies. Oh boy. I know people like The Visit or whatever, and I love the damage. Again, not that much. It does fire quick succession, so probably do a lot over time, but the Lukes, I feel like, would definitely be able to do a lot more. With the Stewart, though, with combination, this is pretty much a light tank battle. Nice job, again, kind of suppressing it, making sure, not suppressing it, sorry, stunning it so he can't move. But now the fact that, again, it's no longer stunned, and yeah, you're showing the rear armor. You kind of knew what's going to happen. Now, if he can get away from the captain, he should be okay. Probably the T-70 should have came in, but I feel like it was like he retreated to get repaired. If the T-70 would have came in, his unit would probably be alive, but he did not. Also, again, don't chase it down. Free bazooka, so that's pretty cool. And now he's going to rush in, trying to kill the unit. Nice shot. Again, T-70 is great, just sniping targets, which I'll say. But yeah, it's very weak, as shown there. But yeah, that was an interesting little tank battle, little light tank battle that you don't necessarily see. Now we have the Su-76. Again, I saw this over here. You can see also here, this guy's a lot of rifleman stuff. So I'm assuming this is why I got here, all that stuff. Not sure why I got the 10% faster. I never get that. Like, it's so minuscule. That being said, I get the munitions part because you can save quite a bit of munitions doing it. So that's why I kind of like it, because I place a lot of mines. I do place a lot of mines if possible. MG's in retreat. Not necessarily sure why. I guess you want to stop it from throwing a flame grenade on it. This guy. Okay, this guy's MG. I feel like this guy's moving way too many MG34s. Also, terrible location for this headquarters simply because of the fact that this headquarters is literally on a road in which he's versing a Soviet player. Guess what the Soviets are good for? Su-85s. Guess what? The Su-85 comes down that road, it's going to snipe this thing like no one's business. So yeah, that's my opinion on why you shouldn't. Flame coming down, again, with that doctrine, he does get a flame ability, which is 120 munitions. Pretty good against killing infantry. I prefer to, I really do like using this over like a bunker or a building. That way it burns that out, or an emplacement, because again, even this like HQ truck will be hurt by it. So that's my stance on it. Kind of use it in a bad sense. Not entirely sure why. Also, he's using more shock troops now. Good against killing infantry, but, and I guess getting past MGs. I guess he figures the smoke grenades would do something, but there's so many MGs. Also, why didn't you just use smoke? You literally, you have enough munitions for it, so you can't do it. Su-76 firing artillery rounds. This is gonna give the pretty much like, hey, they have an Su-76. Did you just fire one? No, you fired more than one. Okay, I was gonna say, did you? But the problem is right now this American player, which remind you everyone, this American player is the 3-star, general, is having difficulty versing the lower level scrub. Which, to be fair, I think he's doing a pretty good job. I feel like he's definitely helping his teammate. I feel like his teammate's keeping his units alive a lot more, but we will see coming up very shortly. Oh, this thing is very close to dying. Very lucky he was able to maneuver through there. Su-76 definitely not following, because why would you? But yeah, I find it very interesting that these Volk squads are actually doing really well against the infantry. And the infantry, again, riflemen, are upgraded with LMGs and bazookas and bars, which makes them superior to the Volks in killing infantry. So, yeah, I find it very interesting that actually in the infantry game, the riflemen are losing and the Volk squads are winning. It could be because of the fact that he's going in piecemeal. He's not necessarily sending him in all together like this guy is, which is something that you should do. Also, I do love how he's a flamethrower, because why not? LMG's definitely holding them back. Nice flame grenade. Missed the target, but hey, we'll take some damage when he retreats. We do have the MG34 doing some damage. Probably should activate armor piercing rounds if we wanted to. Nice kill. Why you turn? I have no idea why you turned it. He did lose he did lose a couple Volks, which is a big issue. But he does have a Panther, and this is probably the most powerful tank on the game right now. Even though he does have a priest, I feel like this priest is a bad move. Simply because of the fact do you have your major? No, you don't. Okay, you don't have a major and you got this. So what are you going to do when this Panther's like, hey, what's up, buddy? And just run up and hit this thing from the side. It can easily do that. You have no, I don't see any mines. I don't see anything really to stop it from rushing up and killing it. And to be fair, that's what a lot of people do, including myself. If you just have an artillery piece there and I know you have nothing between me and that artillery piece, guess what? My tank is going straight there, cutting around and straight back. I've done that in multiple matches where it's like, alright, I'll just take the path of least resistance and hit. Now, to be fair, they don't have recon, so in this situation, they don't necessarily have the opportunity to see it. Also, Su-76 is coming in, but I love the fact that A, they're kind of like fusing together, and B, literally fire about 3 or 4 shots, and so far they've all been either deflects, misses, or something along those lines. They keep not penetrating. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Finally, we got a hit. Another miss. Honestly, to be fair, as soon as you rank these guys up, I think it does increase their penetration and rate of fire. Damage output and accuracy, frequency, and sight the main gun. Okay. So yeah, it does do more damage. Again, we have a nice shot. Again, we have a shock troop army, which I'm assuming is to kill the, like, just to swarm through and kill light infantry. SU-76 is coming back up to mid. Most likely he wants to help out and like stop the Lukes from hurting his men. Again, the Lukes is great, just going in there, fighting, hitting a bunch of units, and getting out very quickly. Jesus Christ, I'm looking at this time, and I'm like, oh my god, this game's going to last a lot longer than I thought for a 2v2. I'm not saying, okay, not necessarily, you don't have to have an hour game for me to make it interesting. Just have some like cool tactics, something like that, and that's absolutely, it doesn't necessarily have, or like just a good game. It doesn't necessarily have to be something amazing, but as long as it's something unique. Like, I am very curious of this MG34 spam that this guy has going on. I've never seen that before, which makes it interesting to me. I find it interesting that this lower level player is beating an infantry game with riflemen right now. That's what I find very interesting. I feel like their units are close together, their bases are close together, but they don't have a British player. Without a British player, they don't necessarily have the fear of a bombing strike. However, they do have priests, and you know that they have priests because again, you have an LMG. If you know the enemy, if the enemy starts using LMGs, you know that they have only a certain number of doctrines, and most importantly, those LMGs are only typically associated with artillery doctrines, I believe. So yeah, you need to worry. Followed by, if they also start using the mortar half track, well then you know what they're using. And of course, when artillery starts raining down, you can literally see the priest, then you know. We do have a Panther moving up. I feel like this is a bad move. Don't get me wrong, I love this Panther. It'll probably kill one of the SU-76s, but if this guy had any sort of major AT, then it would be an issue, like conscripts or AT guns, something along those lines. But he doesn't. Okay, we have another Panther coming out, which now they could, if they honestly want to, there is no AT up here, they could GG this game. And by the way, in case you're wondering, yeah, they could rush these three SU-76s. Why he's showing his rear armor is something I don't get, because then it's a definite chance of armor piercing that armored unit. Oh, the poor Lukes. No, the bazooka team's probably got it. Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, I feel... Why are you moving this in? Why? I feel like he told this to attack something, and he accidentally told... Like, he told to hit here, where he was doing artillery fire, and then moved here. But yeah, sometimes it happens. The SU-76s, I feel like if you had recon, you could easily see they had nothing, rush up with Panthers, kill it, and then rush through here and get out of there. Because you know that this Soviet player has not been placing mines. Like, you have not dealt with any mines, you've not had an issue with it, and to be fair, he doesn't necessarily have a... He has one engineer, but he hasn't been using it all that much. He's been using a lot of specials, which kind of makes you believe, hey, this you don't have to worry about mines, hit and run tactic, GG. Because right now I see where you could have pretty much GG'd this game right now. You could have knocked out 3 SU-76s very quickly, but I get it. You're very cautious, and you don't want to end up a scenario where he does have something coming out. Essentially, it's like Stalingrad, where the Germans were like, we got this in the bag, and then literally a giant Soviet army rolled up and literally surrounded them. Like, where'd these men come from? You don't want that situation to happen to you. That being said, sometimes the initiative is a good thing. If you know what the enemy has, sometimes it's better to take the initiative and hit on a weakness than not to. Again, penal units have the, oh god, was satchel charges, and it did okay. Nice job decommissioning. At least you're decommissioning this stuff, and I love how he just moved up an AT gun so close to the front. I'm assuming he did that try to take out some of these headquarters, and he is using artillery rounds to hit the headquarters, so that could be an issue, especially if it retreats units and a shot comes down on the units. That could be a big deal. Zareel, you definitely need more infantry. I actually think if you knew, you could probably use this bunker, deploy a Fallschirmjäger unit, and then take out this ambulance. But that being said, this guy doesn't have a major, so we can't necessarily target this guy's units or base. Fire coming down, again, trying to stop him from capturing mid. I mean, why wouldn't you stop that? But yeah, just move out of the way, wait for the fire to die down, then move back. We do have a shock troop army, which I'm not going to say is stupid, but That is a very, 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 very powerful blob of very close range infantry. It is going to be a manpower hoarder, though, if he does lose it. He doesn't necessarily have a Panzerwerfer, so he can't take it out, so they need some type of artillery unit. I do recommend a Stuka in this situation, because that could do a lot of damage over here, especially if they keep blobbing them together, as shown here. Also, do like how you're moving up this unit against the priest, but you are dealing with a bunch of bazookas and now AT grenades, which if this guy uses could pretty much screw you if he moves over all the Su-76s. Shock troops coming in, but yep, there's the AT grenade I was talking about. We do have zeroing artillery. This is where you stay in there and fight. This is absolutely where you stay in there and you fight it out. You don't just call in, because you need recon for the arty strike to come down, unless a nice arty strike comes in right now over here, which would be absolutely incredible, but I don't think you had sight radius, so that's not most likely going to happen. Since there is no sight radius, zeroing artillery has been wasted, and I feel like his teammate was trying to help him out, but I feel like, again, you should have not wasted that because you could have used it. Panzer headquarters doing what it does best and holding that back, which is very nice. This is why in this situation I feel like that the Jagdpanzer, this is where I don't like the Jagdpanzer being replacing the Sturm Tiger. I don't like it, because you don't necessarily have that heavy unit good against infantry spam. Yes, you could say the Stuka is good and whatnot, but I really like the Sturm Tiger because you could deal with this blob of infantry very quickly, very easily. You could deal with the blob of units over here. I would move the Sturm Tiger here, I would fire the shot and kill all three. That's what I would do. But no, Relic's like, no one ever uses it. I was one of the only people that, I used it, but I used it because I knew how valuable that thing was. This thing on the retreat, most likely he's going to try to rush up the Su-76s. This is going to bite him because of all the Panzerschreck units. How did he even get sight lines over there is my question. Did he use some type of... Oh, I guess he could use tracking. Again, assuming... Nice job with the Panther, getting a nice shot off on the left. And because this unit's suppressed, yeah, they're going to be annihilated. Again, thank God for this guy's MG spam. And again, I'm assuming he probably picked up the MG over here. Although he has another Panther, so I can't say it's a complete loss. Sabako could go with more MG defenses. I feel like that would be good. And before you say, oh, Greyshot, BMG spamming, I don't mean MG34s, I mean just bunkers. Or actually using the minefield component and doing that here would be good because he does have a lot of munitions. For this guy's real, you do have a lot of munitions. I feel like you should pump out some more. Actually, also Dalton. I feel like with the LMG upgrade, that could be very, very good at destroying. I do mean absolutely destroying that. We do have a lot of artillery fire over here. This is where I could say like zeroing artillery would be great, because then it would be artillery barrage central over here, or deploy our Fallschirmjäger. Actually, screw it. Deploy a Fallschirmjäger here, kill everything over here. GG. I'm seriously GG. You kill his forward base. It pretty much is ability to push. He's deploying a lot of Su-76s. I'm assuming he wants to go for that artillery / AT role. More shock troops coming in, so we can see what he's doing. Spam Su-76s, pump out shock troops. GG this game. I said GG a lot, but you get what that guy's doing, right? You can see what this guy's doing. A lot of rifleman upgrades, along with priest fire, long range. That seems like that's your strategy. I beg to differ, because again, I find like this guy's very strange because he's getting two Su-76s. That's about what, 160, and honestly, you could get a IS-2 heavy tank, which I would feel like would be a better unit to have with Su-76s helping that. But I don't know, that maybe he's just going for a single unit use idea. Nice flame grenades. Again, try to keep the shock troops on the move, keep them back. Look at all the fire. That's a lot of fire. But he did just wipe a lot of units, so yeah, that could be a huge issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jesus Christ. I may not be a religious person, but I will state that is a lot of MGs. It's funny how I will say all that stuff like, oh my god, and stuff like that, and I'm not religious whatsoever. I just use those acronyms as just like statements because I don't like swearing all that much. Even though that in a form that is swearing. Like, here's a fun fact. I think, like, again, I know it's a swear word, and I don't, it's like, but I don't in my head like put it together. God damn it. I do in my mind think God damn it is a swear word, but I know in popular culture it is. So when I say it, everyone's like, oh my god, I'm like, you never swear. It's like, wait, that's a swear word? Because in my mind, it's not. It's like, I think of like many other words a lot worse. And it's like, really? Why is that so bad? But again, in a religious sense, it is. So a little bit about me. There you go. But yeah, this guy's spamming so many MGs. It's ridiculous. Also, I find 2 in 1 building, which I find incredibly funny, because he could honestly have it blocking 2 ways, which I find incredibly smart and stupid, because again, 1 good artillery strike. But yeah, 5 Su-76s, my god. I wonder if he's like, man, I just saw Greyshot's replay on the the T-34 struggle, and I feel like I could do it much better with Su-76s. So how do you fight this? Right now, again, they have a lot of AT, so the Panthers are a no-go for combat. Volk squads can't necessarily hold out. Nice level Sudan, again, following my idea. You do have to deal with the artillery fire because it is hurting your base. So you get a Stuka. That could be interesting. And a very nice hit. That's exactly what you need to do. Oh, shoot. This is where you go, like, only target vehicles. So that way it doesn't shoot, thereby allowing it to be concealed. Nice, oh my god, artillery fire. Double Panther move up, though. These Su-76s will get annihilated. Because simply it's 2 Panthers. They can take a lot. Oh, wow. Never mind. Oh, you have the AT gun here. Never mind. Get out of there. Get out of there. I forgot about the AT gun. The AT gun tips it. Get out of there. If it was only the Su-76s, then I could say they could have won. But with the AT gun there, it's like, no. No way you can win. Because it has the extra armor-piercing rounds activated through the American special ability, as shown here. Also, the Stay Alert, which increases its sight radius, which makes it a lot deadlier. I do mean a lot deadlier against vehicles, because again, it gives it extra sight range. And even though it does cost money to do that, it's better. Because I know it's like, oh my god, the white range. Well, I prefer to see farther than necessarily a wider arc. Anyway, you can see these Priest Fire currently hitting this target, currently causing a lot of damage to the infantry. Bad thing. Right now, I feel like a Pak-43 would be amazing right now, especially if you like put it right here and secretly moved up all their Su-76s. It could just blind fire and murder all those units. Like I say, the Pak-43 is vulnerable, but my god, if you use that correctly, it could be very deadly. That being said, a mixture of fire, long-range combat, stuff like that. Yeah, unfortunately, the headquarters just died, and now they'll allow the infantry to push up, so they do have an issue. That being said, he no longer has the rifleman component, so that will at least keep a lot of it. That will at least keep the infantry back, because he doesn't have that heavy armed component now. So, that's a good thing. But yeah, oh, nice, grenade, I assume? We do have Zering artillery. Where is that coming in? It's in mid, but there's no recon. This guy keeps using it in the wrong sense. You need recon for this thing to work. You do not have recon, so it will not work. Su-76 is firing long range. I do have a 3-star one, stuff like that, so that makes it very deadly. Very nice Stuka. Once again, this guy's doing really well with the Stukas. 2 barrages and already great hits on infantry blobs. I mean, you could say, Greyshot, it's very easy to just hit with the Stuka. No, not necessarily. You have to anticipate movement. And a lot of people I know fail at that miserably. I mean, I have replays where this guy had 3 Stukas, and literally, he done in literally the same amount of time, with 3 Stukas, the amount of damage this guy has done. I mean, you can honestly say he just sucks, but whatever the case may be. So what do you do now? What do you do in this situation? This guy's spamming Su-76s, shock troops. Well, honestly, you put pressure on it. And what do you mean by that? Well, if he's spamming all these lighter units, you know that's where his fuel's going. So you know that's his only armored unit. So you could be like, okay, these things have the artillery component, which makes them very deadly against infantry. So you can't necessarily use AT guns. Close range AT guns. And, such as for cannon mortar. And you can't necessarily use vehicles, because so you have to use some type of infantry that can close the gap very quickly. The problem is shock troops are great at holding that close gap, so that's an issue. The good news is, at least resource-wise, it's kind of even field. Pretty even, I'll say. That again, the The Allies do have the advantage because of this, but if they start putting... again, the OKW can't put fuel gaps, so that is an issue. Okay, so what do you do? Well, I would say necessarily you hit the weak point. The Su-76s are great, but they can't hit hard infantry to save their life. Fallschirmjäger unit right here would be very, very deadly, but you are lacking that component, so what do? You can't really do that. Like I said, you have a ton of MG defenses for God knows why. I recommend you move up your Panther. You lure in these Su-76s, because that's exactly what I would do. You put a Pak-43 right here. You put a bunker here to prevent shock troops from rushing in, just in case. And you just wait. And when the Su-76s all swarm in, like they're doing right now, Pak-43 literally just lights them up, hits them very quickly, and takes out 1, 2, 3, 4 of them before they even have time to react and turn around. We do have a Sherman on the field. Again, that can be an issue because that's good at both killing infantry and armor. Plus, the shock troop units are now moving up. Yeah, this guy's near pop cap, so I can see why he's trying to save up. I'm assuming what he's trying to do is save up for a King Tiger. That could be an issue because, again, it can deflect a lot of these shots, but it is one unit. I feel like you need a few more units to take on this sort of spam. And I feel like, again, I could say instead of getting a King Tiger, a Pak-43 along with another Panther would probably be a better combo. And Stuka doing a little bit of damage. I feel like he should have waited because he knows there's this shock troop spam. The problem is with these two doctrines, they lack a sort of recon. You kind of need that. I mean, the half-track kind of relies it, and you can see it right now with all them blinking. But yeah, he should have saved it. He should have waited for the bigger strike. But the problem is, this guy is at a disadvantage. I don't know why you put the headquarters there, because you know he's artillerifying this position. Maybe up here or something, I don't know. But he's at a disadvantage because he is a shortage on manpower. He is kind of a shortage on fuel if you think about it. They need to do something. Oh wow, that artillery fire. You could tell he's just like, oh, alright, all of them do the special here. And, I mean, that makes them very deadly, but also you can anticipate what they're going to do. Because now they can't use their special for about 30 seconds or so. So now the Su-76s are no longer all that great. And to be fair, they do have some more artillery fire, but they are on a cooldown, so you can kind of anticipate that. So if you activate that ability, move them up, and then use the Pak-43, they can't all just be like, okay, let's hurry up and do the artillery fire on the Pak-43. They can't do that. They have to wait. So I can see that if you use that for your advantage, you could definitely try to lure them into a trap. Nice bunker, at least that keeps the infantry back. At least this guy's doing it with the excess manpower, munitions, stuff like that. But you can see here that he's just, alright, let's just move around. And you need to deal with that long-range artillery, because right now it's going to kill your base long before, especially if he has 3 of them firing. Jesus, that could be very deadly. In this situation, it's tough because you need to fight on the ground. You need to win on the ground game. That's what you need to do. Nice Panzer Shreks holding back the Sherman. But yeah, oh wow, nice shot. Again, that's why you don't block. This thing has explosive rounds, very deadly. Very deadly against infantry. But yeah, running through the fire, causing a little bit more damage. Artillery fire, that headquarters probably won't survive. Yeah. It's a tough scenario, it really is, because it's like, well, what do you do? See, you haven't healed the Panther for some reason. You did get a King, which I feel is a bad move, but whatever. You could still get the Pak-43. You could still put the Pak-43 out, and you could do the King and Pak-43. That would be good. Okay, and the Pak-43 could do a lot of damage on the side. He would think it would be the King, and the King could take a lot of hits. So yeah, I could see that being a good thing. But you need to do that now. If you continue this, you guys will be slowly torn apart because the artillery fire will kill your emplacements, will kill your forward points, and then they just slowly move up and take you out. Like I said here, this was a bad position. I feel like we're going to see that because again, he's just going to use artillery fire and most likely try to target this unit. Once again, they're all kind of clumped together, which I could assume that's a perfect scenario. Do not move this up. You know he's there with 5 of them. Don't move it up. Okay, moving up with the king. Why not? You know you can go over here and heal your unit, right? Or nice shot. Okay, now run away. Are they... Oh, this guy's an idiot. The SU-76, not this guy. Although he should have healed it. Because now, again, front armor, hard to hit. Boom. Oh my god. Okay, that was a very smart move. Because he's going to focus on the Panther because it's barely alive. Well, the King just, like, sits there and just does the damage. The Panther and the King can both kill, like, one of these things in 2 shots. Which essentially, since they all came up, like, piecemeal, very nice move. That could have ended very badly, but because he kind of blobbed them up, that was a very good shot. And if he moves up here and takes all that fuel, oh, that could be very good. Oh, that could be very good. And simply put, that's why you don't SU-76 spam, because it very easily can bite you. They're very good, but not close range. You need a buffer, and this guy didn't have a buffer. My god, I keep looking at this. 1, 2, 3, 4... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one, every time I click this, they both pop up, so I'm like, wait, what? But, yeah. Now they don't have the AT support. Now I can see this game being GG. Again, not how I would do it, and this guy should definitely heal this unit, but I can't believe that worked. But yeah, SU-76s do have that light armor, so now that they have the ET component, they can push up because they no longer have that substantial backing to hold back their Panthers and King Tiger. They don't have that. This is why I think this is why the IS-2 plus it would have been good, because the IS-2 can be the front. It can take those hits, and the SU-76s can then snipe and be like, it's like I'm trying to think of a good scenario. I'm trying to think of a good fight scenario here. It would be like, okay, Dragon Ball reference. It could be this a scenario where if Cell, no. Dang it, that's a weird thing. Dragon Ball, I think of it, typically they do one-on-one fights. But oh, you know what? Here we go. The movie Godzilla. There we go. The movie Godzilla, the recent one. There's a good example where literally they have like the Godzilla fighting 2 Mutos. Both of them by themselves cannot fight Godzilla, but both of them together could, because one is good on like hitting very fast and the other one's good at just taking a lot of blows. So one could not necessarily fight Godzilla toe to toe, it doesn't have the strength to, but with the other one providing support, they could easily tag team Godzilla and like do enough damage to where they can compensate for the weakness. So while again, I think of the SU-76 as the weaker one, where it can hit multiple targets, but the other one on the flip side is like the one that can take the brunt. By themselves they couldn't do it, but together they can definitely defeat it, until of course the US military comes in and is like, F your nest, and then they separate them again. I don't know why he did the Fallschirmjäger strike. I guess you have so much munitions, why not? But you should be laying mines, you should be doing something else, but that was a complete waste. I honestly would have put it, done that strike over here, because you know they have this point, and you can at least kill this munitions point. That's just me anyway. I love how he's just shooting the carcass. Like, remember when I killed all your units? Oh, right. Let me just remove that reminder. Okay, he finally got an IS-2, but a little too late in my opinion. He does have an excess of manpower, which he should probably use on AT guns, or, you know, because you could probably get this upgrade for 20 fuel. There's really no point of waiting. Nice Stuka strike, again, causing some more mayhem. Panzer IV, I feel like that could be pretty good, because again, you're mainly dealing with infantry right now, and you need something pretty quick. Panzer IV is going against all targets, and actually do quite a bit against infantry, plus some armor. We do have some artillery fire going on. I'm assuming he's hitting this general location. Yep, he's trying to kill the house, and also this headquarters. Why would you put that thing right there? I don't know. Also, probably get out of the house immediately. I know you have enough MGs to really, you don't care. Essentially, they're like minimum wage to you workers. Like, well, you lose one, you get another one very quickly. Whatever. But yeah, yeah. You could have really easily got out of there. I do like the Panther rushing up, but dude, you kind of rushed up on the wrong area. I feel like, but I do love how he's using the Blitz to get around them so he can get some nice shots off. That being said, the Su-76's upgrade is for a faster turn radius, so he can hit it. That being said, again, oh, you're not going to, alright, whatever, you're not going to chase. Panthers here is going to be like, alright, let me get some nice shots off on these guys. AT gun, though, could probably kill it. Bazooka team might kill it. Do you have it on armor? You have prioritize vehicles, just saying. That AT grenade, though. Heat-seeking AT grenade. Oh, that sucks. And now, are they going to get a Panther? No, King Tiger's like, hey, remember how you tried to go for that Tiger? Get back. Get back. Oh, they're suppressed. I don't think they can go for it now. They're trying to kill it, and they managed to kill it. Oh, that sucks. Why are you moving up the priest? I don't know. Once again, I feel like he did the same thing where he told it to attack a target, and they just all moved up. So, yeah. Something you really don't want to do. Oh, nice flank. Bunch of Panzer Strike forces. Again, hitting the priest. I'm assuming the priest was it the priest? Yeah, the priest has retreats. Pretty good move. And now if they could take out this ambulance, that would be good. He could actually deploy a full string unit and kill it. Once again, I know these bunkers, people don't use them, but you can do that. I know some people don't like using it on buildings they don't know because, like, oh, I could deploy it and then it accidentally deploys in the back of my base. I get that. But, I don't know. In this scenario, kind of worth it. We do have a Stuka coming out. Again, the more ranks up, the faster it can fire, so that's pretty cool. It's firing, and I'm assuming it's hitting this location by the Stuka Shadow. I didn't even see this. He got 3-star Major. I'm assuming he just helped on the front line. That's pretty good. 3-star Major, again, to get more special abilities. Exactly what you needed to. Wait, can this really sprint? Alright, whatever. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, not much to really say there other than King Tiger GG. Also, nice job getting a 3-star Stuka, which now increases range, which now puts it out of pretty much the radius of any single... Yeah, it just makes it so it can't really be hit by any, like, long-range artillery. I mean, it could be hit by a priest, but, I mean, it's pretty far. It's pretty far. Once again, this guy... I feel like the Allies, once again, had this game. If they did it correctly, they could have... They could have had it, but whatever. Typically, again, it's wow, nice Stuka. Missed all targets. A little bit off. Maybe you're just trying to intimidate them, whatever. But I feel like in this scenario, they had the advantage. Okay, maybe it's just me. When I see things, I see examples where the OKW can win, and I see examples where the other team win, and I try to relate that. Maybe it's not necessarily all that, like, fruitful, because, again, everyone makes mistakes in this game. Even high-level players, they do make mistakes, like not retreating. So maybe I just see that, and I can see how they win, and I can just, like, oh, this is what happened, this is why they lost. So if I ever seem like, oh my god, you're putting too much emphasis on the enemy team, winning or losing or whatever the case may be, it's still interesting to see how the game could have changed. I always like that interesting dynamic of what the enemy did and what they most likely did wrong. In this scenario, I say, I mean, okay, this guy's relying on shock troops, but he doesn't have that many supportive functions, which I feel like is right now a downturn. He could have probably got a Katusha by now and probably relied on more artillery fire, which would helped probably cut back on the amount of fortifications the Axis currently have. The American player, I'm very surprised he kept losing the infantry game. His priests were doing quite a good job, but I feel like he'd never learn from misclicking again. He did take out quite a few buildings. So good for him. And he's holding the field, and they are holding 2 stars. So right now, what needs to happen is the Axis need to hold a key point. Right now, we do have a Sherman with 2 Jacksons. That's pretty deadly. That being said, Jacksons are still pretty powerful, but I don't know. The Firefly, I just like, that is the tank destroyer. The Jacksons are second best, in my opinion. They're still really good, but they're second best. Why would you keep this Sherman here? I don't understand. Also, a lot of AT units coming up. I guess you're trying to kill the Panzer IV, but this guy's enough AT that you're going to lose these tanks beforehand. Another Panzer IV rolls up. Oh, that's great. Bounce. Again, Panzer IV versus a Jackson. If the Panzer IV attacks it right and can close the gap and hit in certain locations, it can win. It just has a lower chance of winning. Yeah, so right now I'm trying to think of, like, again, the Axis strategy. Again, this guy's MG spam. It's consistent to have so many MGs. And the fact that Soviet player isn't having sort of any artillery force, and I do mean like short range to deal with it consistently, is really frustrating. Also, this guy's real, not trying to be mean. You have an Axis amount of manpower. I get you don't have a faction I can really use it on. That's fine. But you could use mines. I mean, I guess you've been placing them. And a few other things that could really help you. Like a mine like here would be great, or here. You have Stern Pioneers that you could use. You could always use that space to heal your armor, just saying. I don't know. Like, this guy, again, he could probably go for more artillery forces. I always critique, I'll even critique myself. So, before you say, oh, Greyshot, you never critique, whatever. I do like what this guy's doing. He is making it so that way the Axis can't take this point. Very smart. Put it right on the edge, so that way they can't take this point, and that keeps a very vital piece of territory near the front line, unable to be captured by the enemy. Pretty smart. Pretty good. And it's at a position where it will be very difficult for the Axis to push up and hit that unit because of all the tree cover and stuff like that kind of blocking from seeing it, so they have to move to a position where they're not necessarily comfortable with attacking. Nice minefield, by the way, exactly what you need to do. Make sure the enemy doesn't take it. Shock troops moving in, but as you can tell, kind of being held back. This guy, although, we can see some fire coming down. Yeah, definitely doing damage. Probably should have just instantly retreated it. So, yeah. We do have Panzer IVs. I do feel like the Panzer IVs are a good combo because, again, right now they do have a lot of AT per se, and the Su-76s have a better chance of penetrating that. But that's why the other guy has a lot of, like, he has his King Tiger and stuff, so he can take that penetration. But yeah, the Panzer IV, again, can't stand up to all this. It just can't. But I like the idea of them trying to focus on killing the infantry with the Panzer IVs. And then the other guy going Panthers and King to kind of take those hits in the meantime. A lot of MGs. Again, this guy loves MG spam. He has a lot of bunkers, a lot of MGs. But to be fair, again, the enemy isn't really correcting that. Also, love the minefield blowing up. Like, oh, we should stay here. It's like, wait, what about the mines? Who cares about the mines? Oh, boy. Yeah, priest fire just hitting this general location. We do have these infantry. Again, they don't have bazookas. This American player has definitely enough munitions. Also, what I find very frustrating is this Soviet player has 1,500 near pop cap, and they're not placing any fuel resources. you can say, oh my god, Greyshot, why doesn't the OKW? The OKW can't. For those who don't know, and for those who do know, OKW cannot put down those points. So it doesn't make sense for them to do that. But they could literally be putting down so many munitions points right now that they are just consistently laying down the artillery fire. And that would break up a lot of this stuff. But they don't do that. I don't understand why they don't do that. Like, they could do a time on target right here and kill all this. And it's kind of frustrating they don't. I do like, again, their push over here, because, again, it's the foliage, stuff like that makes it very difficult for this armor to necessarily engage. Also, very curious why they all turn to rear armor as the King Tiger's moving up. I'm assuming they're trying to hit, like, the Panzer IV and whatnot. But, yeah, the King is moving up. It's just like, hey, remember me? And now using artillery, this is where you stay. Don't move. Why are you retreating? It's not going to work. Artillery's coming down. King, again, unopposed in this sector. Good for him. And Jackson's rolling up. And I feel like, yeah, Jackson's, you probably should stay out of this fight because of all the AT force over here. This is where, while this is on, you can easily hold this territory. Oh my god, you're moving up shock troops. And they just moved into the kill zone. Please, Laird, stay still. Stay still. Please, just stay still. Stay still. Just stay still. Oh, here comes the artillery. Here comes the artillery. Come on. Follow it. Follow it. Follow it. You disappoint me. If you could just suppress them for a few seconds, or actually just use that better timing, the artillery would have came down, just owned it. Once again, trying to push up the MGs here. I assume, yeah, they're using the artillery and stuff like that to kill it. Wow, that was a nice combo, but dude, you kind of spammed it. You don't need that much. King Tiger doing a pretty good job. You can see here again, just holding back the shock troops along with the mines, which I love. It's like the minefield's still there. Just like GT8, this guy has enough manpower, he could get something to remove that, but he doesn't want to, which I find incredibly frustrating. Jackson's moving up, though, to deal with the King. Yeah, it's on Jackson's. It probably still have a harder time. He is using the special rounds to penetrate, but yeah. Was that double Stuka? Does this guy have a double Stuka? No, they each have a Stuka now. And I feel like that could be a downturn. I feel like don't spam too much artillery. They are moving up Jackson's, but they do, I assume, have some AT fire on standby. I mean, you have a lot of Volk squads, but you're not upgrading them. Why, I don't know. Also, you're chasing down the King. I don't understand why you do that. You're going deep in enemy territory. Why do you get the Stuka there? You should probably retreat it. The King has front armor. You don't chase... Okay, that was a really stupid move not to retreat those units. This is why, Orange, you should have built a Pack 43. Because then they would have murdered all this. But, I mean, good job killing that stuff. But you can't, like, run down a King Tiger from the front. For those who don't know, the King Tiger, unlike the normal Tiger, has this sloped armor right here. You can see it right here. That makes it very difficult for a shot to hit because it'll bounce off. It'll just penetrate it. What they don't know is this sloped armor is very good because when it hits directly, unlike a unit that's flat, if it's flat, it's a harder surface for it to bounce on. But if it's sloped, it's very easy for a shot to bounce. That's why the King Tiger is very deadly, because shots from the front, very difficult to penetrate simply because of the fact that those rounds will be it will bounce off very quickly and very easily. IS-2 trying to move up. Again, it does kill all the MGs in this house, which is about time. And it is still hurting this building, so why not? But yeah, they need a little bit more. I feel like now these, like, again, the Axis, it's like you guys should be winning this. Very surprising you guys are not. Like, you guys could pretty much own this field if you want to. Very surprising you're not. At least this guy's, like, finally done with the MG spam. Never mind. He's like, let's get another MG, everybody. This poor AT guy. It's like, I've been here for so long. No, no, this is not how it can be my end. This is why you should have retreated when you knew they were coming. Also, yeah. I do like how it's locked down by major, so they're trying to capture it, but of course it's not working. I love that. That's really smart. Again, he's like, why aren't I capturing this territory? But now, of course, this territory being seen, I'll switch to ally point of view. You can definitely see, again, they can easily see that piece of territory because it does activate like a special thing where you can see around it. That being said, oh, really? I was expecting the Suka coming over here. Whatever. King Tiger doing what it does best. 2 stars makes it very, very good at killing infantry right now. And the more it ranks up, the pretty much the better it becomes. Really? Fallschirmjäger? I mean, I guess Fallschirmjäger. I mean, you have so much munitions, it really doesn't matter. I guess in this scenario, sure, why not? But you get the reason I don't like this ability. It's simple. It just doesn't do all that much. You can see all the planes come in. It didn't even kill this thing. Fallschirmjäger said to do it. I don't know. I guess he's trying to do a Panzerfaust ability on the IS-2. Kind of failed in that regard. Grenade's probably going to kill. Yep, there it goes. And that's my thoughts on the airborne assault ability. I think it's terrible. I truly do. They nerfed it to a point where it's no longer functionable. It should do a lot more damage, honestly. I'm not necessarily saying it should hurt armor, but my god, if there's an AT gun in the area of that, like, in this circle, it should be killed. Armor's being healed, a lot more AT. Again, this guy, good. At least he's keeping his units alive, having a nice wide range. He's upgraded them. That's exactly what this guy needs to do. This guy still hasn't learned and still going with the MG spam, but hey, I'll take victory where I can get it. This guy, on the other hand, finally going for this mechanized armor, but instead of like, hey, let's get Katyushas, finally root this guy out, he's like, Su-85s. Because no, dude, you don't need Su-85s. That's what the 76s are for. That's why you have them in the first place. Maybe you need one, but you need a Katyusha. No, you're not getting Katyusha? Oh, well, then you suck. Fire coming in to stop this. This is where, again, the artillery from the Su-76's Duff's coming in, because you could definitely do a lot of damage reversing incoming blob. But this is where a big push is going to happen. Fallschirmjäger's coming on this side. A big push is where zeroing artillery would be amazing. Kind of lure them into the kill zone, make them fight or make them die. Just get annihilated. But now we have a huge push. Why do you keep having the priests up here? It's beyond me. Okay, you need to focus the Stuka on where they're going to be, not where they were. Now there's a big push going on. This way, Pack 43 would be amazing, dude. Like right here, Pack 43 would be incredible. But no, you never want to build it. You want to build a Jagdpanzer for whatever reason. We can see here the Allies are doing something very important. The reason why they're here is very simple. They're trying to lock down mid because they're trying to win this by points. They know they can't necessarily win this in a frontal engagement directly up against the opponent's base. That simply is not going to happen. But if they figure if they can hold down mid, well, they can run down the clock and they can essentially say GG to the Axis. So how do the Axis counter this? Well, first off, the Allies could, by simply moving up the major and putting it here. That would be very risky, but if you really want to make sure you don't lose that point, that's how. Or even down here. Probably up there is better, because you could probably add some cover and stuff like that. Whatever. But yeah, now they're at least trying a different area. I'll give them credit. Wow, do we really have a 4-star Stuka? We do. Very nice job with the fire, and actually doing quite a lot of damage. Again, direct hit, pretty powerful. And now without this guy's shock troop army, he's kind of in a vulnerable situation with all of that infantry. Because again, we can see here the American player doesn't have the once great American army. So right now they're lacking infantry. With these two guys at least having bigger infantry armies, that could be a big issue. Yeah, Allies do have bigger armor armies, but it's still an issue. Also, artillery fire almost hurt. I mean, if the friendly fire was truly on, that thing probably would have died. I mean, it is on to a sense, but I mean, like, goddamn, that probably would have murdered that unit. I mean, it's still hurting this AT gun over here, so great job. And you're still hitting it for whatever reason, killing this bunker. Fire coming down, most likely to stop the Axis from taking this point, but that's simply not going to happen. They're decapping it. This is where all that excess munitions I was talking about earlier with the fuel caps would probably be very good. And I'm not saying necessarily the American player would have known, but if this guy can use chat enough, this guy can too. This guy would be like, hey, can you use some of your excess munitions and do that? Because I'm sure you, like, if you have some. And he doesn't even have to know that the Soviet player had excess manpower and was hoarding it. He'd be like, hey, dude, I'm going to put some down. Can you put some down? That's what I do with my teammates. Even if I don't talk with GTA or my Yavert or Tank Killer or Blue Leader or Red Man or Panzer Juice or Paz or random people or something like that, I still send a message like, hey dude, can you do this? And typically they're like, sure. They'll send a message. There is a chat system in here for a reason. Now once again we have a giant AT army moving up with a giant anti-armor infantry group moving up as well. So they have that. Also love, again, front armor, great at just like taking those hits and bouncing. I love how there's a giant line here of Soviet forces, because why not? So right now, again, long range, sure, the Soviets have the advantage, but they're not. Oh, we have some priest fire coming in. Yeah, but they have MGs, so that's pretty much going to stop the Allies from capturing that point anytime soon. Again, a lot of MGs. He has 2 MG-34s. That will most certainly stop them from doing it. Now, he does have priest fire currently coming in, and he's hoping, I guess, the priest can kill this stuff. Alright, but nice flank. A lot of folks doing ideas. Again, exactly. Pack-43 would do the same thing, but whatever. I know I love the Pack-43, but still. Causing a lot of pain strikes to come in. A lot of damage being done. Oh, that was a good hit from the IS-2, I think. Smoke coming brought down. Again, exactly what you need to capture this point. Fire may have caused some controversy, because that kind of stops the infantry from coming in certain directions, but enough MGs currently stopping infantry, suppressing it. But again, not entirely. You need to completely suppress it, not just like make it go down. Ooh, Stuka not killing it, but doing a little bit. And also hurt the Su-76 a bit. Looks like there's a flank going on here. Really surprised they haven't captured this territory. Kind of need to do that. Panther, also kind of really injured. I'm assuming you're trying to circle around and hit the priest. But why you would go through here, and why you would... I mean, this guy does have an AT line, and you just stop. Alright, whatever. I get it, you're trying to go for another point, but the AT gun can see you. Right. This is where a time on target would be great right here, Allied. Right before you lose sight. Oh, you lost sight. Well, shoot. Because the Allies are on the same front. I mean, the Axis are on the same front too. As long as the Allies hold 2 points for an extended period of time, it's GG for them. And yeah. In my opinion, Allies just lost the game because, well, Axis were able to come over here, capture all this territory, and they really don't. The Soviet has all the frontline units. This guy doesn't. There's no way, even though, again, technically they have more men, there's no way this guy can have an army to defeat all this. There's no way. The Soviet guy would have to move all of his forces down south, and he doesn't have that. And it's the problem that I have with people spamming these RD units, is the fact they do cost a lot, and that does impact your total army, which essentially makes it very difficult for them to actually fight. Very difficult. So, don't really understand this, or like why the American player isn't trying to fight down there or getting AT guns or something. They are rushing shock troops down, but as long as the King Tiger's here, there's no way infantry is going to even be close to being able to capture that point, because simply put, they will blast any shock troop unit pretty quickly. Also, we have the AT forces coming in, so this whole line, even though they have an MG here, if they circle around again, could easily be killed. Okay, nice idea with the smoke, but wow, okay, yeah, they'll just put their own unit in the smoke. Oh, wow. Okay, never mind. You're really not in the smoke. You're going to die in that regard. Probably should have rushed those 2 units in there, hypothetically speaking. King Tiger, though, will still murder all this. I mean, it's a 3-star king. 56 kills under its belt. One more shot, it reaches 4. And as you can see, that's probably a bad thing to have. Yep, there we go. 4-star king. Having a very fast King Tiger with great sight and very fast rate of fire, probably not the best thing you want. But now, as you can see here, Soviet player moved all of his forces, which essentially allows this guy to move up and own every... What? This priest guy? Oh my god, he's a 3-star player. And he keeps doing the stupid thing where he keeps moving up the priest. I'm assuming he wants a vehicle crew just in case, but my god. Oh, there goes the Yag. Now they're pushing up. Oh no, there goes the 3-star king. I mean the 4-star king. Oh, that's terrible. But even though that the Axis no longer have a lot of armor, and they would be at disadvantage even though this guy has 2,000 manpower, could probably build a Pack 43. It's GG. They're moving up everything. They have no longer any infantry to hold here. They should have had something, honestly. They didn't need all this infantry to run down. They only need really 1 or 2 units. They could have kept some shock troops, stuff like that. Yeah, there's no point. It's over. It's over. Oh, you said? Well, you kind of messed that up. To be fair, if this game would have continued for another minute, you guys probably would have won, because the Axis are currently at a situation where they probably couldn't get much... It would take them a while to rebuild, and you could have at least held it. But, yeah, that's GG. Really stupid move by the Allies. Look at points-wise. Allies, again, best player was this guy, 250 kills, most damage. But like I said, the Soviet guy had the best army at the end. This guy kind of just fell apart and had just a ragtag group. Zreal had most damage, a lot of kills. He did lose a lot of units, though. And Sabako, man, you just MG spammed with the wazoo. I've never seen that many MG34s on the field. And you didn't really use your doctrine to its fullest potential. Zeroing artillery was not used correctly. Pack 43 wasn't done, or at all. And I feel like that would have been really helpful. Allies, you could have put more fuel and resource points down. You didn't do that. You also kind of spammed. And you didn't really bring out your army's full potential until the end. And then it kind of started biting the Axis in the butt. But until you did that, overall, this was an okay game. There were definitely some big issues I had with it, but overall, there were some decent tactics. But a lot of it was flaws. Like, again, it wasn't necessarily Zreal or the Sabako really put the Su-76s in a bind. They just all literally spammed, and he was able to use that to his advantage. It wasn't necessarily that the priests were able to do something really clever. They just hit a large area that was clumped together. So it's like one of those situations that there wasn't necessarily an amazing tactic done very well. It was just a lot of mistakes that led to victory. And I know that happens necessarily a lot, but I was hoping for something really cool to happen, and I never really got the sense of, oh, that was a really good tactic, per se. I kept waiting for that. I just kept seeing a lot of spam. But, you know, that happens. I'm used to that. That's fine. I just was hoping for out of an hour and 10-minute game, a little bit more interesting combat, like the last hour-plus game I had, where there was interesting combat done with the T-34 spam and stuff like that. Like, I've never seen that before and other things. I've never seen the MG-34 spam, but you never really did anything interesting with it. You just had a bunch of MGs lying around, which, great. But that's the game. I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and send in those replays, and I'll see you guys next time.